Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR365.com with the latest on the tropics. And taking a look out there today, you can definitely see the tropics are getting active as we head more into August. This is Tropical Depression 4, and it's moving towards the west-northwest, and it is forecast to become Tropical Storm Colin, perhaps as early as 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. And it's a little bit uncertain whether or not there's going to be enough of a weakness in the subtropical ridge to turn this system north, as some of the models show, or if it's going to continue on towards the west under a rebuilding ridge. That is what is uncertain. What we do know is up until this point here, we're going to have a strengthening tropical cyclone moving west-northwest in the Atlantic Basin. Now, the latest on our system as of 5 p.m., it is currently at 13.0 north, 42.5 west. Winds are 35 miles an hour, gusting to 45. It is currently moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour, and that pressure is high at 1,006 millibars, but it is intensifying, and I'll show you that in just a minute. You can see again it's forecast to become a tropical storm named Colin, and then continue all the way up west-northwest, somewhere within this track cone area. It could be a little bit further to the north and head more towards Bermuda. It could be further to the south, skirting the northern islands and more towards the Bahamas. Right now that's the uncertainty, but the track has shifted south and west due to the uncertainty about whether or not these models are overdoing the trough that would weaken the ridge. And I'll show you all this in just a second. Again, you can see it is forecast to remain only a tropical storm because there could be some upper level shear. However, there might also be an upper level anticyclone. And this is why it's getting interesting at this point in time. You can see the current upper level winds. It's very favorable right around the top of it right now with a building anticyclone. And if it continues that, it could strengthen as much as it wants until about 60 west. It may then have to contend with wind shear, but if it breaks through that, it's unknown what shear conditions would then be like again over the very warm waters of the western Atlantic there. You can see on the shear tendencies even better favorable for the next few days, unfavorable ahead of it. But does it get favorable again? Well, right now it would be, but will it be in about 5-6 days? That's the unknown right now regarding the system. Now, taking a look at the RGB image of our system at this hour, you can definitely see it's continued to move just about on or just south of the Hurricane Center's official track, and right at the end there as the sun sets, obviously you can see a turning here. It's a very small cyclone. Remember yesterday how large it was? Well, it consolidated, and so now it's tiny. And the thing about these tiny ones is they're very, very susceptible to quick changes up or down in intensity. We've seen storms spin up quickly into powerful hurricanes unexpectedly, but also spin down just as fast. That's the current thinking that could happen with this one in the next few days. It could spin into a strong tropical storm, but does it spin down after that, or what exactly happens? You can see another good wave entering the picture here, kind of close, but as this continues to slide off, we'll watch to see if this wave starts to do anything. But as of right now, our main feature is our depression definitely trying to organize into a tropical storm. Another look at it on the IR a little bit faster to give you some indication that motion is continued more or less straight in this direction, and if that continued, it would be coming up very close to the northern islands in just a few days. Keep in mind, it's still a far way out there. Here's South America, but here are the Cape Verde Islands still showing up, so it's still out there a good bit. Again, take a look at that wave behind it, this little monster down here. We'll see if this one goes to the north. If this one tries to follow in its footsteps, we could have a problem. But right now, there's no exact indication of that at this time, at least, that we can see. Now, the model guidance with our system, here's the model guidance for the depression, and you can see they're in good agreement up until about 60 west, that this is going to continue straight on to the west-northwest. Now, the Canadian takes a further south track, and the, let's say the HWRF, GFDL, they're a little bit further to the north, but that generally is a tight agreement there until 60 west. So we're talking a good 3 days here to where we have a pretty good idea of the motion. After that, a few of the models are starting to be turning the system, but some a little bit longer of a turn that threatens the East Coast. Others hook it more fast and towards Bermuda. Others end up bending it west. And so, just like the last 2 days, we don't really have any indication of where this system is going to go, but the Hurricane Center is sticking with the consensus, which is right in this area here. However, it is quite possible it is slower, more in this region, and further south. So to have a system here doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hit land. It could easily turn in between Bermuda and the East Coast, not affect anybody. But the closer it gets, the more chance there is that this will end up having a major impact somewhere along the United States coast, and the Bahamas too. But again, we'll wait and see what happens. Right now, it is a little bit unknown at this time what exactly is going to occur. Now, the Canadian model you can see here does bring the system straight up towards southeast Florida. There's no doubt about that. It rakes a good bit of the Lesser Antilles, and on this map it actually looks like it's making landfall, but it's not. The center is moving just north of Hispaniola, south of the Bahamas, coming up. That would be a devastating hurricane track if that panned out. And that's the Canadian. Now look at the GFL. GFDL shows it moving up here towards Bermuda as a weak hurricane. There's Bermuda on this map, and it has it moving up towards Bermuda at about 60 to 80 miles an hour. Not that strong. There's Bermuda. There's the center of the storm. Clearly a track up and out, not affecting any land areas except Bermuda. So this is an example of how this system's kind of back and forth with what we're dealing with it. So, you know, just something to keep an eye on where it may go and what it may do. Again, here's the tropical Atlantic. Here's the situation, just to lay it out for you. We're going to have a shortwave trough that you can see digging here, and we have the high pressure from the subtropical ridge. Now, if it breaks it down enough, our system here will be able to slip to the north, as some of the models show. However, if the trough is weaker and the ridge just sticks around or even rebuilds, then our system is going to get drawn northward and then back west. And that is the fear right now. Now, I don't know about a Canadian track, which showed it, you know, taking a track through the northern islands, then just to the north, and then kind of up and around. But definitely something further west cannot be ruled out. So anybody, if you're in the islands, if you're in Puerto Rico, if you're in the Bahamas, if you're in southeast Florida especially, or anywhere up the east coast, I'd be carefully watching the progress of what is soon to be a tropical storm here in the central Atlantic. And I'll be back later on tonight with an update on the system, just in case we have any changes. As of right now, it's looking like we're going to have a strengthening tropical cyclone the next few days, heading up towards the west-northwest. I'm Mike Naso from IPR. I'll see you next time.